But on his off time, he's just scrolling Instagram, finding these random girls that no, he got her Instagram handle from somewhere else. I'm not stupid. Everyone.
Hi guys.
Welcome back to another episode of 30 Kind of Flirty with Brittany
and Joey.
How are ya?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to be here today. We're
Raring
recording
to go.
Another podcast episode.
So
it's a good one.
What's new, Brit?
Oh my God. Okay. I was gonna actually tell you this, but I thought I would save this for now.
Oh.
So yesterday I couldn't find the Mac Pass transponder for it had fallen off the window because it was so hot the other day. So I couldn't find it in the car, and it was when you get into the car and it's like it's fucking sauna, it's so hot. So I'm like, I'll find it later. I have to look for under the seat, so that's fine. Get to the trail, okay? I'm ditzy blonde, my hair's in a high pony, I'm popping out of the car,
Getting ready to do your walk.
thinking I'm all that, got my little AirPods in, start to run, feeling good. 1 kilometer in, something's attached to my ass. And it was busy. The trail was busy. It was busy. And this thing is hanging off my tail feather, and I look, and it's the fucking transponder. And I was just so embarrassed. People have probably seen it, and it wasn't even it was attached to me, fully attached.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was hanging on by a thread.
Oh my
and
God.
it was the worst experience.
So you were just walking around with a transponder on your ass.
And I was trying
thinking,
to
I guess she's trying to cross the bridge later.
I was thinking what were people probably thinking? Because there was a ton of people behind me, and I had my AirPods in. So were they trying to tell me that there was something attached to me?
Ma'am.
Oh, she's long gone, Jerry. So yeah. Anyways, that's what happened to me. I know. And then another little story that happened.
Yeah.
I was taking a French class this week.
Yep.
And in French class, we had to type our birth date in the chat for the class. And my date is the 6th,
Yep.
right? So S-I-X.
Yep.
It's spelled S-I-S, X in French class. Well, don't I spell sex?
In the chat.
In the chat. And then right after I was like, oops. And the whole class was laughing. My teacher, who's kind of young, was just like, oh, ha, ha, ha. And anyway, so I have 2 embarrassing stories
You're
this
just
week.
having quite the week.
I know.
You?
How's your week?
The
Anything
week was
embarrassing happening
good.
for you?
Yeah, actually today. So, early this morning, I went off to the gym thinking, I'll get my workout done. No big deal.
Yeah.
And as everyone now knows, I do like my jocks and I like my gym boys. And I do have a crush on one of the fitness trainers in my gym.
Yep.
So he was there and he was working with a client. So I was on one machine at one end, and he and his client was on a machine on the other end. So I could see him, but he's very, far away.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people on all the machines in between. And the trainers always wear, they got their jackets or sweaters
they're looking
on.
fit and
so
toned.
he took his sweater off, and he's wearing this muscle shirt. And so, of course, Joey's looking. Because Joey is always looking. So I'm on the machine on the other end. And because there's so many people in between us, I can't just look over and see them. So I do the whole I'm going to stretch and just lean back a bit and take a quick peek.
Take a quick
do
peek.
a little
Casual.
do my workout, do another set, do another little look back. Well, one time when I was stretched out looking back, I guess I just went a little too far.
Did you fall off the bike?
No, I lost my balance and fell right off the fucking machine.
You did?
Right off the machine.
Did anybody see?
Yes, everyone. I'm flat out on the floor.
He's like, no problem.
I just get up. I'm like, excuse me. Just back shuffle to the tanning room.
That's so
oh
funny.
My God. I don't think he saw, but everyone in between saw.
That's so embarrassing.
I just
Did you
fucking
hurt yourself?
fell. No,
Okay,
just my
well,
pride. Just my ego. Yeah.
That's yours is more embarrassing than mine
fucking
for
fell.
sure.
Yeah, but
So
I
we
mean,
had a good week then.
That's just
it's one of those things being at the gym too. We always talk about people looking at you when you're working out and stuff, and you want to look hot and everybody knows it's probably the most unattractive pose, running, but you got to do it, but look good at the gym doing it. But we never talk about the other side. It's a great place to find eye candy, and but with that comes obviously being.
Yeah, just, when you're checking someone out, just make sure you're holding on to the machine so that you don't,
just be
fall
smart,
on your face.
be aware of your surroundings.
Yep,
always.
always.
I'm not surprised, Joe.
No. But also, this happened last week before. I was kind of sitting on it for a bit, but I was ghosted recently.
You were ghosted, like this week?
As I just said, last week or the week before.
Okay. I was drinking
this
my
is
pumpkin
brand
spice
new
latte.
information. And I thought I would share the story because we've talked about ghosting on the pod before. Not only was I ghosted, though.
I haven't heard this story at all. This is new for me.
Ghosted by the same person. So this is the second time.
By the same person?
By the same person. So I think this was, I don't know if it was a year ago or if it was in the spring, but I had been talking to a guy. We had been chit-chatting. Talking was good. Flirting was good. And he asked me if I wanted to meet to go for a walk on the trail later that day.
Right.
And I said, yeah, just send me a message. And we had been talking for a couple days at this point. Just send me a message, and never heard from him. So I messaged him thinking, hey, like, did you want to go for a walk? Yeah. Or if something came up, just let me know. Never heard from him again. And we were been texting, so we had each other's number.
Okay.
Never heard from him. So I'm pretty sure that might have been a year ago. And then I don't know if it was last month or the beginning of September. He came up on the dating app again, and we matched, and we had started talking again. And I knew clearly who this was, but I wasn't
going to. Did he know who
I don't
you
know.
were?
I'm assuming, but I don't know. And we chatted for, I think, 2 or 3 weeks, like good,
pretty intense.
Good chatting. Yeah, very good chatting. Our interests lined up, and we decided that we did want to hang out. So I asked him a couple times if he wanted to hang out, and he was busy or whatever, and that's fine. And then one night, I hadn't heard from him for a few days, and then he had messaged again.
Yeah.
Just, hey, how are you? And I said, oh,
and this is all on the app still.
Yeah. I'm like, or we had been texting too.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, oh, hey, how are you? And he kind of went off the dating app. So I asked him, oh, did you block me? And he was like, no. He's like, I deleted it because I'm just tired of the bullshit. I'm tired of the games and tired of
the ghosting that
all
you
this
did.
stuff, right? I'm like, oh, and I said to him, oh, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
And then I said, did you still want to hang out? No response. So then I messaged 2 hours later, if you're still interested, I'd like to hang out. Just let me know. No response. Haven't heard from him since. So this guy who is so sick of the mind games and the bullshit is the one who's playing the mind games and doing the bullshit.
Okay. I know that ghosting, like we talked about this in the last episode that we did, ghosting doesn't need a reason to ghost, right? You're not into it is enough. You should say something, blah, blah, blah. But what is this guy's end game?
Well, why?
What is the point? What a waste of time.
I know. Twice. He did this to me twice.
Ghost me once, shame on you. Ghost me twice.
Shame on me.
You're a dick.
No, shame on me.
Honest to God, but what is the point? What is the point? I'm getting riled up. I mean, I just don't understand.
And he made a comment before he had ghosted about how, when he said he was tired of the bullshit, and he was like, yeah, I'm just good at being by myself and with my dogs. And yeah, you are. So lose my number.
Lose my number. Get out of here.
So anyone out there who's going through it, your Joe boy feels you.
I didn't even hear that story.
No.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
No.
I won't ghost you.
Sometimes I wish you would.
I knew. I was going to say, even though you wish, I probably would. Yeah. So, I mean, right. You know what, though? It's Halloween season. It's ghosting season.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a mean trick to play.
He's seasonal.
Well, now I know if he ever comes up on any of those apps, it'll be a hard swipe to the left.
Which is actually a really great segue to our episode today, because the episode that we have at hand is micro cheating. And I feel like, not that has to do with micro cheating, but ghosting is one of those
it's a game.
Dating phenomenons that nobody can really explain or why it happens.
Yeah.
And micro cheating's the same.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, oh, what's micro cheating?
And micro cheating is also something where the behavior always existed. But that term got coined because of the dating apps and the social media, much like ghosting. So.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things too that we're around it all the time. It happens constantly, but nobody ever knew what it was called. And nobody knew how to like even explain what they're experiencing because it is so common nowadays that people just chalk it up to that's dating. And that is not true.
Yeah.
That is not acceptable.
So before we get too ahead of ourselves, what is micro-cheating?
Okay, so micro-cheating is the act of cultivating in small ways inappropriate, intimate connections outside of your relationship. So those can be online or in person. And we'll get into that more. I do want to put I'm trying to get better with this, but if you do enjoy listening to us and you want to keep us around, you can follow us on Instagram at 30 Kind of Flirty Podcast. You can also find us on Facebook, which I think is
30 Kind of Flirty
podcast, or just 30
just
Kind of Flirty?
Kind of, well, it'll come up.
Just look it up. And then on Twitter, which I'm still
how are the tweets?
tirelessly at, which is Kind of Flirty, at Kind of Flirty. Or email us at 30kindoflirtypodcast@gmail.com. So if things like this come up where it's like, I've heard this term, I don't know anything about it, and you want us to talk about it, or there's something that's been bothering you or a scenario, obviously we'll never say, who you are or what, but we'll figure it out. We'll solve dating for you. So I just wanted to say that because this is something that I'm actually really excited to talk about, and I think it's applicable for a lot of people. And we can have the conversation on here and online. That was a great plug.
Yeah, that was great. I honestly let you roll.
I'm getting better.
That was great.
So micro cheating, just to get back to it, is basically small acts of infidelity that don't really qualify as infidelity. It's just walking that line.
And one thing to note, like obviously when we're talking about cheating, cheating means different things to different people.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
It depends on your relationship.
If you're in a monogamous relationship, obviously anything physical, sexual, intimate with someone else would be cheating, right? But if you're in an open relationship, it might be different. Maybe the physical is okay, but the emotional stuff is cheating.
Yeah.
So for Brittany and I, we have only ever been in monogamous relationships.
Yes.
So our stories and a lot of our perspectives are going to be coming from that kind of headspace. But just know it can relate to all kinds of different relationships, different genders, however you identify, all kind of relates.
And to that point, we are obviously both interested in men and in boys. So this is going to be from our perspective as far as talking about boys. But I mean, it applies differently.
Applies to all.
So for sake of conversation, we will refer to things as the men.
Those dirty, dirty men.
Dirty, dirty men that are micro-cheating on ya. So what is micro-cheating and how to find it?
So before we get into like the social media part of it.
Yeah, it's a big one.
I was watching Friends the other day.
Yep.
And there was a scene where Ross and Chandler have accidentally like put out to their old university friends. And Ross is upset that no one had sent any condolences, right? So they decide to put on this fake
funeral
wake kind of thing for him. So people are showing up at Monica and Chandler's apartment. Ross is hiding, and this really hot girl comes to the door, right? And at the same time that they've accidentally said Ross was dead, they also said Chandler was gay. So when Chandler shakes this girl's hand, he's like, I'm not gay. I'm not gay. I'm not gay. And then Monica's standing beside him and she's like, you're married though. Right? It's kind of like that thing where before social media, if you're flirting with someone outside your relationship, checking someone out, all those little tiny things that don't necessarily add up to much, but they can be in that gray area.
They're in a gray area.
And for just a little story for me, like back in university, I had a crush on someone, but this person was just an acquaintance. I didn't know him super well. We had some mutual friends. I met him at a few parties, but I thought he was cute, but nothing ever really happened.
Right.
And then I started dating someone else. Okay. So while I was in that relationship, me and this friend that I had a crush on became close friends, just from fate. Things just happened that way. I wasn't looking to become closer to him. It just happened. Yeah. I no longer had feelings for him at all. I was fully happy and committed in my relationship. But for some reason, I was finding myself flirting with this friend,
and not on purpose.
Messaging this friend, like not inappropriately, but being flirty You know, even something like saying like, love ya, when I say bye to him or whatever. Or like going into his place, hanging out in his room, and like we're like chilling in his bed together. And
I'm like
nothing
sleeping with him.
No,
like, Joe, I don't
know. Nothing inappropriate is happening, but it's still a gray area, and it bothered my boyfriend.
Yeah,
he voiced to me he didn't like it, and yet I was like, well, no, it's just a friend. It's like any of my other friends.
Yeah,
but of course he didn't like it because he knew how I used to feel about this guy. Of
course.
And acting inappropriately, and like even though I wasn't cheating, I wasn't looking to cheat. I was still acting a little bit inappropriately.
Flirty.
And that's micro cheating.
Yeah,
I was doing these small little things, little flirty, you know.
Inappropriate intimate connections outside of your relationship.
That kind of connection.
Probably not realizing.
And I knew it was inappropriate.
Oh, you did know.
And I knew.
Okay,
well, no, but you know it's like a little gray, right?
Yeah.
And I knew that my boyfriend was upset about it.
But did you like the guy still that you were doing this with?
No.
So it was innocent.
But I also knew that if my boyfriend was doing it with someone, I would have been upset about it.
Yeah, see, so there you go.
So that's just like an example of a behavior outside of social media where you can see that micro cheating, right?
Which is a good example to have.
It could be like, you know, your boyfriend has a coworker and all of a sudden he's talking about her a lot.
Yeah.
And
yes.
They go to lunch together,
right?
A lot.
A work wife.
They go
or a work husband,
wife, right? Where
right?
it's innocent.
Yeah.
It's you know.
But it's the idea of what it could be, right?
It's not necessarily
the start.
cheating, but it can make you feel a little insecure about
Especially in like something like an office setting where if you're all going out for dinner after or drinks after work, and then it gets and we'll get into it a little bit further. But like one of the examples was when you start talking about your sex life outside of your relationship. I would have never thought of that, but I like to pride myself on being a very private person, and I would feel uncomfortable if my spouse or partner was talking about our sex life with a work wife or their coworker. So I can see it, right? And that's why we talked about like it's all up for interpretation. Certain things that are going to bug me are not going to bug you, and vice versa. So then comes the big questions is like, how do you spot micro cheating? And the biggest one that every single one of you listening to this right now can relate to is the act of social media. What does that mean? It can be anything from, I was going to say sliding into the DMs. That's a little bit, we'll get into that. But even just liking a girl's photo, right?
Okay, so you have following random
people, following people that are local.
Liking photos.
Yep.
Commenting certain emojis on people's photos. Reacting to the story.
Yep.
And could be random people, but there's also cases where the person you're dating, what if they're doing those things on their ex's social media?
For sure.
Right? Maybe they're friends with their ex, but you see them, they're always posting little heart emojis or the fire emoji.
And like, how does that make you feel?
Right?
Honest to God, right? And this is where it's all up for interpretation. So that was a good example. Another example would be hiding or lying about your relationship on social media. So, you know, if you have like 400 posts on your social media, not a lick of your man or a lick of your woman, or I hate using that term woman, your partner, your person, it's like, why? Yeah. Why isn't your person posted? I'm not saying it has to be slathered, but I mean, and I also don't think you should have like a padlock in your bio. You know how some people do that? But like, if I look at your Instagram and there's no indication that you're in a relationship, it has to spark something that's like, why?
It's funny because I'm currently kind of talking to someone.
Yeah.
Through Instagram, and we're sexting. We're
like, and they have somebody's initials in their bio.
We're sexting. We're doing whatever. Through Instagram, this person is very much single. I randomly found this person on Facebook.
Yeah. And
there's a lot of, I don't know if they're recent pictures though.Maybe they're not recent. I didn't really think about that. But there's a lot of pictures of him with a partner. Being engaged to a partner. Now, maybe he's not.
Do you know if he's open?
No, I have no idea.
You have no idea.
I have no idea.
Gotcha.
But this is just kind of like an example of that situation where it's like.
But so you don't know. Why don't you know?
I don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's up for interpretation.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I'd be curious to see when you ask him.
Yeah. Now, one thing I'll note. So I was in a long-term relationship pre-social media. Like there was Facebook and stuff. During that relationship, Instagram came out, Snapchat came out, all these things came out. So then when my boyfriend and I broke up, I was newly single in a world where social media was big.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to navigate that so much as a single person. And then I started dating someone and noticed that they had all these gay guys on their Instagram.
Yeah.
They were a lot of likes of people's photos, a lot of friends on Facebook as well. And it made me feel very insecure.
Of course.
I'm thinking, okay, he must know all these people.
Yeah.
Has he dated like all these people?
Yeah.
Is he inappropriate with all these people? Is he still talking to all these people? But then I came to realize that within I hate saying gay community, but in that community, I've realized that a lot of people, they just follow each other on social media and it's all innocent. So now I follow a lot of gay guys on social media in Halifax, and I've talked to a lot of them through Instagram, through Facebook, through Messenger.
Yeah.
Just as friends, as, whatever, reacting to their stories sometimes. It doesn't really mean anything. No. So there are cases where, it's not micro cheating. It's just...
So I did, to that point, I did a little like chart, if you will, about when following random people would be a deal breaker versus like just a red flag. Mm-hmm. And the way I kind of broke it down was if your spouse or partner is following, and this isn't true. I mean, I'd be curious for the discussion on this because this is how I interpret it. But if the girl that he's following doesn't have a ton of followers and it's like a private account, what do you do? Because if you confront it, like if you're in a relationship with them for like a year, you would probably know all the people in his circle. But do you confront it and ask him, who's this random girl? Mm-hmm. Does that make you feel crazy? Mm-hmm. And then that's kind of where gaslighting comes in and that kind of thing.
And here's an important point that I had that you just brought up. Mm-hmm. So you're dating someone. Mm-hmm. People that they already know, maybe don't know them.
Like school friends?
Maybe they're random people on Instagram, but they've already had them on Instagram.
Oh, yes.
Versus now you're together and now someone new has come into the mix, right?
That's a good point.
So I was in a long-term relationship with someone. And we both have lots of friends on Facebook and Instagram. It's no big deal. It's whatever. And I remember having a conversation with him or seeing something maybe on his phone. He had been chatting to a guy, this random guy. And I asked him,
and you didn't know who he was.
And I didn't know who it was, right? Because I knew all of my boyfriend's friends and stuff. And I had asked him, who's this? And he said, oh, it's just some guy that started chatting to me. I didn't like that, right? Because so now you're talking to someone that you don't even know when you're in a relationship with me. It's a little bit of a gray area for me. And I asked him, why are you talking to him? And he said, oh, well, he said hi. I have to say hi back. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
If you're in a relationship with someone and random people are messaging you, you don't have to message them back. You don't know these people.
Yes. And to that point, I'm not saying anything about that relationship, but to that point, if they do feel like they have to message back or they do have to respond, it does beg the question, are they happy in their current situation? Because we're human. I don't truly believe that humans in general are monogamous creatures. Okay, I don't. I think there's multiple soulmates out there and all that kind of stuff. So it is human nature to want to respond just based on curiosity. But the difference is you wouldn't feel that need to respond because you are fulfilled and happy in the relationship you are currently in. Again, up for interpretation, but that's where I think micro cheating comes from. Why? Why are they doing it?
Yeah.
Why do they feel like they need to respond to that person? So that was my red flag. If a girl doesn't have a ton of followers, maybe is private or public, and they're in a relationship with you, but they're following her. Why?
Yeah.
Okay. Red flag. Deal breaker. And again, I don't know, but I would say if he's following somebody that has like 5,000 followers or 4,000 followers or not that many, but she's public, she's kind of out there, she's outgoing, and she's local. That's the kicker, right? Local. She's tagging photos. She's from the area you're in. I automatically assume that he picked her up on social media, on like a dating app. Now, I know that that's really kind of stretching, but going off of experiences that I've had in the past where I was kind of seeing this guy, right? I'm not totally dating it. I'm not dating him. It's a situationship. And we're just talking, but you're being intimate and all this kind of stuff. And then he's randomly following other girls' social medias that sound like they're probably the type of girl that has their Instagram handle in their dating apps. Mm-hmm. It does beg the question. Mm-hmm. And then that person that I was talking to ended up being on the dating apps without telling me. Mm-hmm. But those are the kind of things that if your gut's telling you that something's not right here.
100%.
There's nothing right about that. Like, why would somebody need to follow a random local girl, why they have you. They're quick to have sex with you, or they're quick to hook up with you, or when they want something to, like, they're quick to cultivate those relationships with you. But on his off time, he's just scrolling Instagram, finding these random girls that, no, he got her Instagram handle from somewhere else. I'm not stupid, right? We've all been on dating app. Like, how long has Instagram been around for? A decade?
Almost, I'd say, yeah.
Like, we know, right? And these are the things that now are coming up. And you see, if you're talking to a guy and he's not liking your photos for whatever reason, but liking every other girl's photos out there, it's like, oh, well, that's the algorithm, right? Like, I didn't see your photo. I didn't blah, 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 blah. It's like...
bullshit.
Yeah, and coming from my point of view, and I know people are listening to this are going to relate, but like, do you address it? Is that crazy? Is it crazy to say, this is going to sound crazy, but you're liking a ton of people's, and you know that because you're stalking the Instagram, you know that he's liking, but like, you could make up a lie being like, oh, it came up on my Discover page.
Which is what
right? Yeah, but like, you could address it, and then it's like, all of a sudden, it's like, I didn't even notice I was. And come on, I mean, we all mindlessly like stuff, okay? That's not the point. But what the point is, I'm telling this person how I feel and how it makes me feel, and they're choosing to continue to do that behavior.
Yeah.
If somebody shows you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. So all of these little micro cheating actions really show the true colors for what the relationship is going to go into.
Yeah.
Because how can you have a relationship with somebody who's doing that, and then when you express how you feel, they disregard it? Right? It's a tough situation to be in. And
it is tough because we're talking about liking photos, reacting to stories, whatever. And
what else are they doing that you can't see?
No, but it's easy for someone to say, oh, just because I'm liking someone's photos, that means nothing. Just because I'm following someone, that doesn't mean anything. And in some cases, it doesn't.
No, for sure.
Right? It's social media.
Yep.
We're all looking. We're all doing whatever. It's still a gray area. And it still can make you feel insecure if you're
partner
in a relationship.
Or your whoever tells you that. You should.
Now, this is dealing with random people. But what if you're dating someone and they're liking their ex's photos, they're commenting on their ex's photos, they're chatting through Instagram, through Snapchat, where the messages delete themselves?
Yeah.
That is a little bit different.
Yeah, and I think, like, I've never been a part of that before, not that I know of anyways. Yeah. There was one instance with a boyfriend that he was talking to an old girlfriend, and I flipped. We were kind of going through a rough patch in our relationship, so that he, reached out to her, and that wasn't innocent. He used it at the time as like, oh, I need somebody to talk to that understands, blah, blah, blah. I mean, doesn't sit right with me. I wasn't running back
out of all the people he could have reached out to, though. He's got friends.
Right. So now that situation, I wouldn't call that micro cheating. I took that as like, not cheating, but like you're telling, again, to what micro cheating is about personal relationships, talking to another person.
Then it is micro cheating.
Yeah. Right? And it bothered me, and I treated it just like I would treat cheating.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one. And I think, once again, if they're showing you who they are, believe them.
So for me, like, I had a situation where I was with someone for a couple of years. We had broken up.
Yeah.
So of course we're broken up. So I'm seeing other people. He's in his home world seeing other people.
Yeah.
And then some circumstances changed and we got back together. When we got back together, I stopped talking. Any guy that I was talking to, anything, I stopped. Because I thought that was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And I had assumed maybe he would have done the same thing.
But hoped.
But he didn't. And there was this one guy that he was talking to. And I just noticed him I noticed the name coming up through Snapchat and stuff. And I never recognized him as a friend that he had before or anything. So I knew it must have been someone that came into his life while we were separated. And I asked him about it. And he said, oh, yeah, like, it's just someone that we've chatted. He said, we went for coffee once, but that was it. We've never dated. We've never hooked up. We've never done anything. I'm like, okay, like, and I told him, like, I'm not really comfortable with you talking to someone. Like literally he'd be sitting next to me on his phone, chatting with this person, laughing to himself, smiling. Well, we're supposed to have our quality time together,
Yeah.
So he said, no, I get that. Like, he's not really a friend of mine, so it's nothing for me to just stop talking to him. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. He didn't stop talking to him, though. There was still Snapchats coming through. And I would say, oh, well, like, what is he snapping you? Oh, just pictures of his dogs or his chickens. Okay, what kind of chicken is he snapping you? Like, And to that note, I did find out that he was messaging him inappropriately.
Yeah, because there's always
it was
the tip of the iceberg.
It was a cheating situation through text.
Yes.
But it was still micro cheating. It was someone that he kept in his life as a connection outside of a relationship.
Yes.
And instead of doing certain things with me, he was doing them with him.
Yeah. Okay. So, and are you with him now?
I am not.
Exactly. Right. And that's what gets me going here is the fact that these micro cheating, and that's the other thing too. People use social media as like an scapegoat where it's like, oh my God, it's social media. It means nothing. It means nothing. Blah, 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 blah. Listen, social media has been around for almost a decade. You don't blame social media. Social media is your life. You have all these photos on Instagram. Mm-hmm. You have your friends on Instagram, their families, their wedding photos, their babies.
When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you do?
You look on Instagram.
You pick up your phone and you
go to the
open
bathroom
up Instagram.
You
shit and you scroll.
Like, come on. Everybody's on Instagram. Stop making people feel crazy for bringing up situations on Instagram being like, oh, it's just social media. It doesn't mean anything. You know it means something. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't mean anything, then why are you on there?
Flirting through Instagram DMs is no different than going and meeting someone for coffee and flirting with them over coffee while you're in a relationship. And if you asked anyone, if my boyfriend went to coffee with a girl or this hot person and they're flirting and stuff, what would that person tell you? Oh, well, they're cheating on you.
Yes.
So how is doing it through Instagram
it's not
any different?
Right? And let's be clear about something. I mean, if they're on Instagram and they're liking celebrities' photos or influencers' photos, that's completely different, okay? I put fire emojis on Kristen Cavallari's photos all the time, okay? She's hot. It's when it's that more intimate setting of like under 5,000 followers or a model and also if they're liking a model that's on social media that's like 200,000 followers, let's say, that still doesn't make you feel good because then you look in the mirror being like, is that what he wants? Because like I don't have that kind of like that still plays on your mind and it's okay to say something and don't let them sit there and minimize social media because social media, it's 2021. This is our life. Mm-hmm. Everything is online. Mm-hmm. Everything.
And a lot of relationships start through social media.
Yes.
I've had a few that have started through social media.
Yes. And to that point, sliding into DMs was another one. That to me is like, I mean, that's micro cheating, but it's like next level because why do you feel like you need to slide into your DMs,
I mean, reacting to someone's story or liking photos is innocent. Maybe it can make you feel insecure. Like, why are they doing that? Are they keeping
their options open?
But to actively slide into a DM and start flirting with someone that they don't even know, that's a little bit different. So we talked about social media.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about dating apps.
Yes.
So when you're dating someone, okay, mm-hmm. and nowadays you kind of have to have the conversation where it's like, okay, like, are we exclusive?
Oh,
are we deleting the dating apps? You go through that conversation.
Yeah.
But then what if the person just hasn't deleted the app, right? So you get situations where, oh, I just like to scroll on it for fun.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I'm on there just to meet some friends.
Oh, I don't know where to find the app on my phone. Like I
don't know where it's at. How do you delete it? I don't even know how. Like those things do come up. And I remember a couple years ago, my boyfriend at the time, he was up visiting me because we were long distance. And we were on my friend's Tinder.
Yeah.
She's a cisgendered woman, so she was looking at straight cisgendered men.
Oh, no.
So we were just kind of scrolling through, and his friend, her boyfriend, popped up on Tinder, and he was in the city. He was here.
Oh, no.
So my boyfriend told his friend, hey, like, we just saw your boyfriend on Tinder here in the city, like where I'm at right now. Just wanted to let you know.
Yeah.
She brought it up to him and he said, oh yeah, I was on there. I'm just trying to show my friend how to use it.
I'm trying to meet new friends in the area.
So
it's like, bitch, I took that photo of you.
You're trying to show your friend how to use it. So why didn't you just make a Tinder for your friend on his phone with his pictures?
I mean,
why is it you? No. You were out here and you were trying to message girls and flirt with girls. And a few months later, they were broken up.
Yeah.
So obviously he wasn't happy or whatever. And he was doing that micro cheating where he was on the app. He might not have been actually looking to hook up and cheat, But he was there probably to scroll through, flirt with some girls through Tinder, whatever he was going to do. Maybe send some pictures.
Yeah, like maybe make like, build up his ego. And I had an instance where I was talking to somebody. It was a situationship. I thought it was going to go somewhere. They were on a dating app. And it's like, oh, I haven't been on that dating app. Like, I don't even know. Like, I don't even know where it is on my phone. Like, I can't even find the app on my phone. And it's like, listen, that photo was taken like
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. And I know because you sent it to me.
Yeah.
So
nice try, bud. Yeah.
Like, if they're on social or on dating apps, that's because they want to be on there. They know how to be on there. They know how to delete the app. If they don't, that's no problem. It's called Google. If you don't want to be on there, they won't be on there. So just a shitty, basically.
So those are some examples of it. How to deal with it. Well, Brittany already mentioned, right, talking to your partner. And I feel like when you talk to your partner, you need to have concrete examples. Like, go on Instagram and say, look, this is a girl that you've been following. You've been liking all of her photos, or you've been whatever, right? Come with actual examples.
Yeah.
Another thing, too, with the dating apps, delete them. Have the conversation. Delete the apps. No more scrolling for kicks. No more scrolling to meet friends.
Yeah.
None of that. They're gone.
Yeah,
Remove
you're
them.
off of there.
Okay?
Yeah.
And another thing, too, is you have to set boundaries. You have to talk about it because, I mean, we don't want to sit here and say that that whoever we're dating can't have friends. Obviously, yes, you can have friends. You can talk to your friends. You can talk to people. You can be on social media. I personally, doesn't bother me when my boyfriend's liking other people's photos because I do the same thing. Like, it's innocent.
It's the way things
but
go
you
today,
need to talk, but just talk about it. Sit down and say, hey, like, are you okay with me liking random people's photos that I follow? Are you okay with me reacting to stories or posting emojis? Yeah. Maybe it's okay for that, but maybe sliding in DMs and having conversations through the apps, maybe that's off the table. Maybe that's something that's a little murky.
Yeah.
It's okay to have those conversations.
It is.
And if your partner isn't willing to do that for you,
then they ain't the partner for you.
Then they're not the one for you.
They're not the one for you. And I think to that point, like, if you're going to talk to somebody about something that's bothering you in a relationship and they act poorly, they get really defensive, they gaslight you, right? They make you feel like you're the crazy one. They're not for you. No. They're not the one.
Because when you're bringing something like that up, their reaction shouldn't be that you're accusing them of anything.
No, it should be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that you feel like that. Yes. I cannot believe I put you in that situation.
And they should understand how, maybe what I was doing was a little bit of a gray area.
Or I didn't notice.
Yeah. Like, if there's someone that has been single for long term and they're used to just being really open on social media and now they're in a relationship. So if you're dating someone who has been single for a long term and is used to being on social media, single, open, talking to different people, following different people, whatever, now they're in a relationship and that behavior isn't going to change automatically because they might not realize that that's inappropriate or not so innocent. So sometimes the conversation has to happen where, hey, like, now that we're in a relationship together, I'm not comfortable with you, constantly,
and that's okay,
liking these hot girls' photos or commenting,
and they could come back and
nice
be like,
booty
well,
on
too
these
bad.
photos, right? And hopefully they'll respond, good, right?
So that's my next question then.
And well, just one more thing, off the mic, Brittany made a good point how the men that she has dated or the men that I have dated or anyone that does these behaviors, it doesn't automatically mean that they're a cheater or they're looking to cheat.
No.
Some of it is innocent, right? Like I just said, if someone is used to being single and they're still liking girls' photos or boys' photos or whoever,
you'll know.
They might just be doing it because that's just how they look at social media.
But you would know that though.
So have the conversation. If the behavior doesn't change after the conversation, then maybe there's some things you need to work out.
Yeah. And in Joey's and I's situation, when those people were doing those micro cheating actions towards us, it turned out that they did the real action later on in the relationship, right? We don't have a great experience where micro cheating was present, we addressed it, and it went away.
Yeah.
It was resolved for the time being, but then those relationships deteriorated because of cheating or another issue that.
So it could be it could be seen as a red flag if not addressed
Yeah. What do we say? Those red flags be heart-shaped, though.
Those red flags be heart-shaped,
because sometimes when you're in it, it's so hard to like acknowledge.
Or maybe that's just an orange flag.
Yeah, like, like it's one of those things that like, what's happening, you can see it, but you're like, oh, I don't want to look crazy. I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's okay to look crazy. If they can't handle you, listen, I had talked this conversation with you, I think, the other day, where it was like, you have to be your true authentic self, because what's going to happen is if you hide these things and you don't address them, then one day you're going to wake up and that person's going to be like, well, you've changed. And it's like, no. This is how I've always been. I was manipulating my personality to match yours. So if you're just authentic right from the get-go and something's bothering you, and that's the other thing, it's never too early to bring this up. I mean, I would say you should be dating the person, right? Because we all know when you're, I use the word courting, but I don't know what you call it.
I mean,
a courtship.
I mean,
but
sure.
like when you're like properly dating and talking to other people, I don't think you really have a right to bring it up, because you're not exclusive. Okay?
No, it's when you're
it's when you're dating.
Exclusive.
But
same
as soon as you're
same with removing the dating apps, right? You don't have that conversation until you're.
But as soon as you are dating, there's never an early time to address what you want to address.
Yeah.
So do it.
And that's the takeaway.
That's the takeaway. And we've all done it. We've all done it like on the celebrities and stuff. But that's, like I said, it's different. There's some hot celebrities out there.
Oh, yeah. No, that's way different.
Like,
you're not going to.
I'm constantly in Chris Hemsworth.
You're not going to stop me from DMing Chris Evans.
Right? Like, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. We've all done it. It's just in different capacities. So I actually have a fun little game for us. And
Cue the game trivia music.
Alrighty. I didn't know what to call it. So Joey and I are going to start like interpreting.
Interpretive dance.
Like, honest to God, we're going to start adding in these little like games because they're fun and we want to.
Yeah.
So this is a little quickie. I just winked at him.
Okay. Well,
called Flirty.
Joe don't do quickies, so.
Called Flirty versus We Aren't Doing That.
We ain't doing that.
We ain't doing that. So I'm just going to have like just statements, okay? And I just want us to discuss quickly if it's flirty or we ain't doing that.
And I don't even know, and I don't know what any of these are.
No. So number one, they talk a lot about the future before the second date.
Future with me?
Yeah.
We ain't doing that.
No?
No. That on a first date?
Do you think it has any kind of like any kind of factors on like their age,
Here's
where they are in life?
It wouldn't necessarily be like a deal breaker, and it's not like I would say no to a second date.
But you would like recognize it?
But my God, buddy, like let's get through
spaghetti.
Let's get through the appetizer before I'm meeting your family, okay? Like,
oh my God. Okay, so that's a good one. So for you, it's like no, we aren't doing that. For me, it's more like
Brittany, that's right up your alley.
Like I think it depends on some factors. I mean,
Brittany, you're the one on the date that's doing it.
Okay, number two. They act like they have a ton of followers on Instagram, but only have 300 or so. So the like little side piece here would be like, a promo code.
Oh yeah.
Or like they think they're an influencer.
Here's the thing: everyone live
or they're private.
Live your truth.
Yeah.
Live your truth, and your
you
journey is your journey.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to build up a following, obviously all that stuff helps. It's a little cringy, like
it's so cringy. It's like, for me, it's a no, we aren't doing that.
Like I follow someone who I think has 100 and some followers, but acts like they have like 5,000 or
it's cringy.
10,000.
It's hard to watch. It's like one of those train wrecks that you can't look away from.
Yeah, and it's like I get it. Maybe that if that's your goal, like, and you're working towards it, that's great. But just recognize it comes off a little
cringy. It comes off as like egotistic too. Like, if you're private and you have like it in your Instagram profile and it's like, it's a no for me. Sorry. Number three, you've been on 4 dates and you really like them, but then they make a shitty comment that trying to be funny. So whether that be like, I mean, there's fine lines here, obviously, like homophobic and stuff is like a huge like deal breaker. However, what about like a comment about like, that you're too much or something about what you're wearing, or like you really like them 4 dates in, but then they make a shitty comment
that I'm too much?
Yeah, like, yeah. Or,
what
or
I'm
something.
wearing?
Okay, well.
Oh, no, buddy. Take several seats.
What do you do there? Is that they're flirty because they're trying to be funny? Or is that like a no, we're not doing that?
They're trying to be funny. No, if they're trying to be funny.
And it didn't land. It's like.
And it just didn't land. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But if it's something that is a pattern, because that can be emotional abuse, really.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
You know, making those comments, but trying to play them off like they're funny, but really they're shitty to you, then that's probably we ain't doing that.
Just be out for dinner and be like, no, we're not doing this.
We're not doing that. I'll just get up and leave.
Yeah. Check.
Honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
So the next one says that they talk to their mom daily.
Talking to their mom daily is fine. I myself have always been a mama's boy. And I like someone that prioritizes their family, is close with their family.
Yeah.
So talking is fine, but not someone who is seeing their mother every day, or like their mother is part of every decision, conversation, like none of that stuff.
So you're okay with it for now, kind of flirty.
Talking
like
with their mothers, that's fine. You want to talk to your mom every day, that's fine, but
we're not doing that.
But there's a boundary though, right? Like she's not coming over every day. We're not seeing her every day. We're not
going to mama's.
You know?
Yeah.
You and mom aren't a we.
Right? And that's a problem. We should do an episode on that because that'd be a good one. Okay, so the next one is dating for months, but forgot to delete the apps. So the dating
They
apps.
did?
Yeah. So dating for months, you've had the talk, it's all good. A little notification or something comes up on their phone, or you hear a friend that says, hey, we saw so-and-so on the dating apps. Is that flirty? Is that innocent? Is that kind of like cutesy? Like, oops, no. I'm not really on my phone that much. Or is that like, no, we're not doing that. Massive red flag. Get out of there. Do not pass go.
It's a red flag.
Do not collect 200.
It's a big red flag.
Yeah, so we're not doing that.
They know they're on there. They know how to use their phone.
Like, you've only been dating for a couple months or a few months. So get out now before it gets any further, because this behavior.
That's yep.
It's showing its colors, and you've got to. You got to write them down.
Yeah.
Fall colors. And last but not least, been on dates. So let's say been on 8 dates, but only will talk to you through IG or Snap.
Meaning you haven't exchanged numbers?
Maybe you've exchanged numbers, but every time they want to reach out to you is either on the Instagram.
Okay,
on
Snap.
Grandma. Or Snap. What is that flirty?
Okay.
Is that
Listen, first of all, Wayne 15. Who the fuck is on Snap?
I guess that should be another one. Do they have Snapchat?
Honest to God, what is with talking to someone and it's like, what's your Snap?
We've talked about this before.
Like, my Snap is in 2015. That's where my Snap is. Go back there and find it.
I would say, let's make that actually a 2-parter. So first of all, we need to talk about why they're on Snap.
Yeah.
First of all. Flirty, kind of like innocent.
Wait, so they have. So this came. So they have my number.
Yes, I have 2 friends.
But when they reach out to me, it's only through Instagram.
It's only through the apps.
I'd say they're in a committed relationship with someone else.
Yeah, Snap for
especially
sure.
Snap.
Instagram, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they must be, right? Like, why?
It's funny because when I was thinking about these, I was texting one of my girlfriends and I was just like, do you have any ideas of like what would be? She's like, well, you could use this one because I'd be curious what your guys' thoughts were. And I was just like, when running it down, I'm like, oh, sweetie, like it's not looking good for you.
Or they don't, or they have you in their phone, but not under your name.
The bigger issue here is, why does he have Snap?
That is the biggest issue.
That's a turn off for me. We're not doing that.
Me too. I don't get
the whole Snapchat thing because Snapchat is meant, in my opinion, for like a quickie.
Yeah.
Not a quickie, but you know what I mean.
And 2015. I was using it.
They want their app
well,
back.
I was using it as normal 2015, but then in the most recent years, it was used as a hookup thing, and now I just don't even fucking use it because
you're not 15.
I'm not 15.
Yeah. So that was the other one, was just like, if they only talk to you through. And I mean, I've had
that's
that
a good
before.
one.
I haven't had them solely talking to me through Instagram,
me either.
But I've had it where we're not talking for a few days or whatever the case may be, and then in order for them to weasel their way back in, they like react.
Yes.
To a story and kind of get in that way in the back door.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Go in the back door.
That's not bad.
Well, yeah. Well, no, it's not.
I mean, I've done that where it's like, not the back door. When you're talking to someone and it just kind of trails off a bit. and I don't have the confidence to just kind of.
This person had the confidence,
right? So I just slide in. Well, you would say I have the confidence. If you know me, I'm pretty confident.
Yeah,
but like
that's true.
Certain people make you not feel confident.
Yeah, and I think
so I might just react to a story or do something just to kind of. Hey, it's Joeigh.
I'm still here.
Hello.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. I was thinking back to the other thing.
Yes, Brittany, I know what you were saying the whole time. I knew.
Clarify that. So yeah, that was it. That was just kind of fun little thing.
Brit's so awkward.
I am awkward because these topics about like micro cheating and social media, it's like this one little thing came out, and whenever social media came out, I don't know what years. And it just blew up all these new questions and all these new ways to do infidelity or to have, to be I find social media is a gray area. Yeah.
And we'll probably do like a future episode more social media based maybe and dating in the social media.
And it's tough. Like I said, you've probably been around it forever, but didn't know what it was or what it was called.
Yeah.
And it's called
same with ghosting.
Micro cheating.
Right?
Yes.
Back in the 90s, ghosting. Them on their big ass phone on the wall thinking, why hasn't he called me? Why am I not hearing from him?
Yeah.
Bitch, he ain't calling you.
No, and that's, Joeigh and I were talking about like future episodes and stuff, and like we want to do a couple on hauntings and what we're grateful for and all these upcoming episodes. So stay with us, obviously, because these are things that we deal with in our 30s especially. And I think they're even more important in your 30s because now, I don't want to say time's ticking because that's pressure, right? But you start noticing different things in your life now, and you're like, in my 20s, they might have got away with it because I was naive or I was young or I had all this time ahead of me. But I find in your 30s, we're just tired. And it's like, listen, if you aren't happy with me or you don't want to be with me or you're doing these micro cheating activities, it's like, let's talk about it. And if it's still happening, I need to move on. And sometimes you can't formulate the words because you don't know what it's called.
Yeah,
you don't know how to.
Yeah.
So yeah, stick with us.
And there's lots of articles out there on this. So
there are.
If you're seeing it, you're not crazy for being insecure about it. No. It is a thing in today's dating world.
And they all say, all the articles do sum up with, if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. And I feel like with dating, that is the takeaway in dating world, is if it doesn't feel right, it's not, because there's a reason that you're thinking about it, and it's okay, and we all go through it.
Listen,
and
the micros, we don't like them. Micro cheating and micro penises. They got them. Run away.
Micro penises. Has anyone seen, well, obviously, like, you guys can answer me back, but Sam, Sex in the City.
Sex in the City with the small
Joey's
penis.
rewatching Sex in the City, and it's so funny to hear him, like, send me, like, little snippets and stuff, because I'm like, oh my, it's like, Sam Jones is so funny. Yeah. And you're right. These things come up, and you're like, oh, am I okay for thinking these? Yes, you're okay with thinking it. Let's talk about it.
Okay, so
30 Kind of Flirty podcast.
Yeah, any comments, questions, any feedback, any ideas for episodes, give us an email, 30 Kind of Flirty podcast @gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram, 30 Kind of Flirty podcast. Our link in bio for all of our socials is there.
Our Twitter.
You can find us on Twitter, Kind of Flirty.
@Kind of Flirty, yeah.
And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star review, 5-star rating, and a good review.
Yeah.
On Spotify, give us a follow.
Yeah.
And you can find us on all other platforms.
And yeah, don't micro cheat us. Micro cheat. Is that a thing? Micro cheat?
Yeah.
Don't micro cheat us.
Don't micro cheat us.
And that's it. Have a good.
Don't micro cheat us. We'll micro cheat you.
Oh. Okay. Okay, bye guys.
Bye guys.